Sorry, welcome back to our meeting. It is now 8:43. Item E, reconvene to open session. Item F, announcement of actions taken in closed session. Amy, were there any items taken in closed session? Is she there?
She's not here right now.
No? Nothing to report? Item G, comments from the public. However, at this point, I would like the board to consider moving to H, so we can do H1. How does the board feel about that?
I'm good with that.
I'm good as well.
Thank you. H1, Calexico High School Representative, Luisa Estrada, what are you?
Good evening.
It's on.
Did I push the button to speak? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Luisa Estrada. I'm the ASB Public Relations Officer, and I am also the Calexico High School student representative. And my report is that we had our first home football game on the 20th of August, and we also had one on the 27th of August. ASB planned activities for Suicide Prevention Week, which started on September 5th to the 11th. During this week, we reminded students that they have so much to live for and that no one is alone. We also reminded them that there's always someone that they can reach out for, whether it be our counselors or anyone that is on or off campus. During this week, it was World Suicide Prevention Day, which we wore yellow. There was also a home football game on the 10th. On September 14th, the ASB Executive Board met with club advisors, which weren't many as we had anticipated. It was also Mexican Independence Day on September 16th, for which we had the quad area decorated with papel picado made by our very own ASB and AP Spanish students. On the 20th through the 24th of this month, we also had Start With Hello Week. This week was all about bringing attention to the growing epidemic that is social isolation in order to empower the young people to create a culture of inclusion and connectedness in our campus and our community. Coming back from a virtual year, this week was a very important reminder for everyone, as we all have to remember that everyone needs a buddy. We had the virtual back to school night on the 21st and celebrated IT Professionals Day, thanking them for all that they do for everyone, especially now during these special circumstances. On the 27th of September, we had our first pep rally to welcome back the students. And we found that pep rallies are actually a vital part of our school in order to keep spirits high and encourage students to have fun together in a safe way. In October, we wore blue every single Monday due to it being National Bullying Prevention Month, and also wore pink on Wednesdays due to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We kicked off October with a home football game on October 1st, and we had our senior night for our cheerleaders that same night. On the 8th, we had our homecoming applications available for those that were interested in being in the homecoming corps. In order to celebrate World Mental Health Day, we put up posters with positive sayings such as, "I'm glad you exist," and "Mental health matters." Not only that, but we posted flyers on Calexico Instagram, which is at Calexico ASB, and we said that mental health was very important due to it being a stigma, especially in our culture. We needed more light to be shed in this topic, especially due to the quarantine and the students being affected mentally. Therefore, we found it vital for us to speak about it because it is our age group that is affected the most. On October 13th and 14th, we had the first home girl tennis match and our last home volleyball game. Therefore, we celebrated our seniors with a senior night as well. Then the homecoming applications were due on the 15th, of which we had a meeting with the homecoming corps applicants to discuss the criteria that was needed in order to fulfill the homecoming corps. From the 18th to the 22nd, we had National Safe Schools Week, which the purpose of this week was to inform people of the signs that someone might be in need of help in order to have a safe school. This includes anything from gun, domestic, and other forms of violence that may occur. We also had an activity during lunch on October 20th, which is National Save Day, where students wrote things that they were grateful for. SAVE stands for Students Against Violence Everywhere, and we also wore orange on this day in order to remember Alex Orange, who was 17 years of age when he was killed in the West Charlotte Senior High School shooting. There was also homecoming elections on the 22nd, and we had an activity to kick off Red Ribbon Week that consisted of students pledging to live a drug-free life. We combined our Homecoming Spirit Week and Red Ribbon Week, tying each of our themes with anti-drug messages, such as Country versus Country Club, where we would have the drugs kick the boot. On the 29th, we had the Homecoming Parade and the Homecoming Lunch Ceremony, where we introduced the Homecoming Corps and the Queen candidates. We also had Halloween costume contest, where we had several winners for our different categories. That same Friday, we had a Battle of the Border homecoming game, where we found the Homecoming Queen and the Duchess. On the 30th, we had our homecoming dance, which was almost not possible. We needed to get the chaperones for the dance, or else there wouldn't be any dance at all. It was very complicated due to the situation of the teachers not being valued as they should. We were lucky enough to find staff at last minute, but I don't even want to begin to imagine what would have happened if we hadn't had the dance. Now on November the 2nd, which is the Day of the Dead, which is the cause for celebration in Mexican culture, we had ASB build a stage where we had several singers composed of students and staff. On November 3rd, we had our first blood drive of the school year that I had the honor of being in charge of planning, along with my right hand, Javier Leos, and my charity group. We also started the canned food drive on the 8th of November, which will finish tomorrow, November 19th. Students donate to their third period, and it will be donated locally. We also posted veterans for Veterans Day on the 11th and celebrated World Kindness Day by posting flyers on the 13th. This week starting from Monday, November 15th, we kicked off our Spirit Week for Battle of the Classes pep rally, which will be held tomorrow, November 19th, on the football field. The ASB Executive Board made the decision to start with the Battle of the Classes, despite it usually being done after the homecoming live skits, because of the lack of advisors for our classes. Our teachers are not being treated fairly, and despite of ASB's best efforts to try and run a smooth course, it has been difficult. Today we had our first turkey run in the main campus, where the students competed in several running events. There was a 1-mile relay, a 400-meter relay, and a 100-meter relay. We gave around 6 turkeys per relay, 3 for the top 3 girls and 3 for the top 3 boys. It was quite successful, and we hope to continue this in the next few years as well. We also will celebrate World Hello Day on the 21st of this month with a flyer on our Instagram to show how truly one word or a greeting is. Lastly, I would like to mention that football, CIF, will be made history with them going to CIF for the first time in 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. So now we go back to item G, comments from the public. The vote will take any and all comments from the public related to an item on the agenda or any other item of district business that is not on the agenda. Maria Bravo.
Good evening, board members, executive cabinet members, and the audience. My name is Maria Bravo. I'm a classified employee for Calexico Unified School District. I have been a classified employee for the past 22 years. I've always been vocal, I've always been involved, and I will continue to do so. And with that, I will start under the public comments. I don't know if you all had the opportunity to read the 80-page report. I did. It took me several days, but I read it. And there were several things that came to light. And I'm being conservative with my percentage. I want to say that 90% of the allegations were sustained. Credibility, wow. I have no words for that. The lack of credibility. It's shameful, disheartening. You're supposed to be our role models, and I don't see that happening. So I will read something from that investigation report. The governing board is determined to provide district employees and job applicants a safe, positive environment where they are assured of full and equal employment, access and opportunities, protection from harassment or intimidation, and freedom from any fear of reprisal or retribution for asserting their employment rights in accordance with the law. And I will continue to read something else, and it's one of your bylaws, 9005, which states that the collective responsibility of board members is to build unity and create a positive organizational culture. At the last special board meeting, Ms. Magallanes mentioned something about wanting to have a mission and a vision. It's here. If you read the report, it's here. You don't have to dedicate any more time or money in creating it just by going off by this one page. It's all there. And I will read part of it. The board also has major commitments to parents, guardians, all members of the community, employees. The state of California, laws pertaining to public education, and established policies of the district. Board members are expected to govern responsibly and hold themselves to the highest standards of ethical conduct. And on page 79, in case you want to make reference to it, I highlighted just a few points. And some of these are: recognize and respect differences of perspective and style on the board and among staff, students, parents, and the communities. Act with dignity and understand the implications of demeanor and behavior. Participate in professional development and commit the time and energy necessary to be informed and an effective leader. Understand the distinctions between board and staff roles, and refrain from performing management functions that are the responsibility of the superintendent and staff.
Ms. Bravo?
I understand, I'm almost done. Understand that authority rests with the board as a whole and not the individuals. If you're an effective leader and you haven't gone to any CSBA trainings, just read the Brown Act book. That's all you have to do, simple as that. And another note, if you can discuss it among yourselves, I think it's also time that you also set a timeline on how much time you spent in closed session. The young lady had to wait until this time to give her report. Many members of the community left because you took a long time. Yes, I understand there's a lot of things to discuss in closed session. Maybe minimizing the agenda or having 2 meetings a month will be best. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bravo. Mr. Kim?
Okay, Ms. Bravo, I'm glad you mentioning board meeting should be more than 2 times a month. We are educating. We don't educating kids anymore under our public activities. They used to have kids come here to presenting themselves at least a month. You guys cut it out. And where is education? It's a very simple, small ones. And same time, we need to taking care of issues. We got so many small issues. Look at the last meeting, what you guys done. Just like a Passover. A lot of the items, without the pay attention, just gone through. That's shame. You guys, how much serious dealing with the issues with us, or with the public and our children's education. That should be at least 2 times, and plus the 5 weeks in time, they're supposed to have some kind of educational gathering so they can cover, they're going to be, that way they can cover the unnecessary special meeting. So people cannot participating because too short time. And the other one is the board members, any actions, any accusation whatsoever, or whatever been done good, they should be opening. They shouldn't be behind the scene. Whatever board member mention it is what have been done, what have been not been done, what have been done good. They should be open to the public. It's, the elected person is fishing the fish in the fish tank. So everybody knows their actions. We are board members or elected person. They should be rely on their action taken, not hiding. And when I was a board member and school board members, they are making special meeting or at the home. It's like end of years, they're making story to accusing me something is not, I'm not done, and they're making noise. And one of the board members involved in that one too. But I I opened my position. Why you have to cover or hiding other board members' name and actions been taken? And I believe that some board member, whatever they took it, they should be able to take it or say sorry, or if they made a mistake, say sorry. So keep going on. We cannot wasting time for those kind of actions. We have to spend more time for our children's education and the monies. And you guys not spending money for the children. As you guys abducted our children and the money using others. I feel like it's sorry for our children. And the children should be here at least a month. All the representatives, they need to learn how to social activities going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. That was item G. Item H1, we already did that. Item H2, proposed educator effectiveness block grant expenditure plan for fiscal years 2021, 2022 to 2025, 2026. Mr. Kim, you also put it out. Sorry, Ms. Price.
Okay, before I speak on the children's activities should be before the closed session. That way the children takes a short time, so they don't
Mr.
have to
Kim,
wait.
you need to be talking about H2. You need to be talking about H2.
Yeah, okay. If you don't hear, if you don't want to hear about the suggestion, it's good. Thank you. Okay, H2, they have a $2.2 million money we're going to spend it, and our education right now with the pandemic, a lot of damaged. The money should be able to spending that money for the recovering from the damage from the COVID. And they're supposed to spend money with the teachers and some extra activities whatsoever with the teachers and the students in the classroom. That money should be focusing our educations, our recovering education system, or education, whatever they've been missing. They spend much money with the teachers and students. I suggested refocusing, spend money there. And our teachers, it's been suffering 5 years of sacrifice. And you guys have owed them to cover that. So it's up to you. So I believe the 5 years of block, the grant, they should spend money with the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. H2, Proposed Educator Effectiveness Block Grant Expenditure Plan for fiscal years 2021-22 to 2025-26. Ms. Price, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Berisa Huerta Price, Director of State and Federal Projects. In front of you is the draft plan of the Educator Effectiveness Block Grant. For members in the audience, there are copies in the back, and this has also been sent out to CUSD all for their review. So Calexico Unified School District is receiving a little over $2 million for the next 5 years for educator effectiveness, and really it's focused on the professional learning of really everybody in the district. So this is for teachers, administrators, classified staff, anybody that interacts with students is eligible to tap into these funds for professional learning. And this is out of, here's the ed code for that. As a condition of receiving the funds, the district needs to present. So I am presenting this plan to you in a regular meeting, and then we will bring it back in December for your approval. So just giving you a heads up that what you see today may look different from what you see in December, because it is, we are taking feedback from our stakeholders, our educational partners. One of the things that this plan has to do, it has to coordinate with our Title II, and that particular federal fund is to support effective instruction. So again, the Title II is for the professional learning of site administrators, teachers, and instructional assistants. Currently, our Title II funds support a portion of the academic support teacher salary, along with our BITSA support providers and the district support provider for BITSA. But I do want to add that this plan is also coordinated with the many other plans that I have presented before you, that Mrs. Ramirez has presented, and that you've seen over the last couple of months. One of the things that I do want to stress is that the LCAP, our Title I district set aside, our site Title I, our Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant, and our ESSER 3, they all include opportunities for professional learning for all of these things listed on here. However, some of these, especially our Title I, our site Title I plan, it is limited to instructional staff. So our certificated staff can use those funds. It can support professional learning for our instructional assistants, and it can support learning for like our counselors that work with kids, as well as our administrators. But we have a group of classified staff that cannot tap into it because they're not considered instructional staff. So this is an opportunity really for our other support staff that interact and work and have important roles within our district to receive professional learning. So our bus drivers, our noon duty supervisors, our cafeteria workers, our maintenance, our campus supervisors, all the other support staff that work with our students, this is an opportunity for them to receive additional funding, because we also have, we're addressing all of these needs with other funding for our certificated staff and our instructional aides. Yes.
You know what? No, go ahead. Go ahead, finish.
What the plan cannot fund, and one of the reasons I put this here is we have a survey that has been sent out several times to everybody at CUSD to get some feedback, and this is based on some of the comments and some of the feedback that I have received. So this plan cannot fund playgrounds, curriculum, teachers to reduce class sizes, salary increases, tutors, whether it's one-on-one or small groups, instructional assistants, pull-out or push-in interventions, competitions, or additional counselors. This is really for professional learning opportunities, and all of these actions are in other plans. So it's not that we're not doing it, we're not addressing those with these funds.
But, so you're saying that, so no staff salaries, but yes to the projects that they may have, right?
So it's no salaries unless it's somebody to train. So if we're hiring somebody to train, then we can.
Okay.
And we can pay for substitutes too.
Okay.
So those salaries are included,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay. And this next part, it's, like I said, it's going to look, it may look different from what you see in December, so I'm not going to read it to you. You do have it in front of you. There are 10 areas that these funds must be spent on, and they're really long, and I don't want to read them to you. But really, you know, the number one is to support beginning teachers and addressing the standards. So at the end, you'll see the different activities, and then at the end, you will have the amount that is dedicated for each of the sections. Like I said, this is a draft, and we are sending out requests for feedback from our educational partners, instructional assistants, everybody in the district, you know, so it's out there. We have, so again, this is 2 and 3, and I won't read it to you. And at the end, you do have a summary of expenditures by section for your review. And then, again, I do want to stress this is a draft plan, and we do welcome all of the suggestions. Reminder that this is the plan for the entire district, so it doesn't mean if it's, you know, one person suggesting something, it may not make it into the plan, but if there are trends that will benefit the entire district, then they will, and I will bring it back to you, and we'll be working with the educational team. It's already been presented to our leadership team, so we'll continue meeting with the different educational partners to strengthen this draft plan. Questions?
Ms. Price, maybe I'm kind of prematurely asking this question, but you say, when will these funds be available to our staff?
So these funds are available now. As soon as a plan is approved, then we can use it for current school year all the way through 2026.
Okay, and my second question is, how will our staff go about requesting for this funding?
So the staff doesn't request. They can send suggestions as to what activities and what kind of training they would like to. This is initial, you know, this is a 5-year plan, so these are the initial planning stage. As we go and implement, we're going to continue working with the rest of the teams so that we can identify specific topics. You're going to see that in the 10 sections, some of those are very specific, and we have several actions, but for others, we just have money set aside for this area. So there are we're going to need additional feedback from our principals, our teachers, our instructional assistants, so that the professional learning is very specific to the needs of those specific groups.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Board.
I will see you in
Thank
December.
you.
So that was H2. Item I, consent agenda. All items of payment will be acted upon one motion without discussion unless any item is pulled for separate consideration and action. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second, but I would like to pull a couple, just questions.
Okay, so there's a motion by Mr. Romero and Mr. So there's a motion by Mr. Romero, and there's a second by Mr. Calderon, but Mr. Calderon would like to pull a couple of items. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Well,
Okay, I-8, I-13, and I-15.
I-8,
Yes,
I,
I-13 and I-15.
and I-15. Okay, so there's a motion, a second, but Mr. Calderon pulled out a couple items. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody say aye?
Yes.
Okay,
I did.
motion passes 5-0. Go
What are
ahead, Mr.
can you repeat the items that you pulled out?
I-8, I-13, and I-15.
So I-12 and I-13 are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Both or just
No,
one?
no, just I-13. And I have a question.
I-15 is a pre-list.
Yes.
So I-8, I-13, and I-15. Right? Okay,
Yeah.
so there was a motion and a second, and everybody voted in favor? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Calderon.
Is Mr. Ocampo here? I'd like to know what we're doing with the scoreboard.
Good evening, board members, staff, and audience. Daniel Campo, Director of Maintenance and Operations. The scoreboard was a little bit worn out, so we repainted it already. We were gonna change the graphics, but we decided to go with painting instead of putting vinyl graphics because it burnt out with the sun. And we're also changing the LED signs. So
Okay.
most of it's already done.
And there's some LED also is going to be added.
Yes, the current LEDs are a little bit burnt out, so we're gonna replace those also.
Okay. And you know what, nowadays, and I'm bringing it up because nowadays, they actually have digital scoreboards. And digital scoreboards actually bring profit to the school district because they can sell advertisement, they can sell anything. They can even have pictures from the audience. So maybe in the future, and we can look at that. And also, especially if we want to send messages to our parents that are sitting in the bleachers, that would be a great idea to use the COVID information there too.
No problem. We'll look at it.
Yeah.
There's room for
Yeah, I
improvement.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And let me see.
So for the LED lights,
So is there a motion to approve I-8?
well, hold on,
Yes.
I still had a comment on that.
Oh, okay, go ahead, sorry.
So for the, in regards to the LED lights that are you talking about the LED lights on the, to keep the scores and
Yes,
and the quarters
that's
and all
what
that?
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Okay. Going along the lines about, as far as, making them more modern and stuff like that, wouldn't that be something that's cost effective also as well, as far as putting those new monitors or whatever they're doing, like those screens, as far as that goes? Because, just like Mr. Calderon was stating right now, I think that would be an excellent idea, especially if we could run advertisements through the bottom of it, while at the same time putting the scores and everything up on top, I think that's something that we should be looking towards also as well, because if not, we're gonna be doing this every so often, and as if we go the other route, there's gonna be a cost associated in the beginning, but I think if we do run like advertisements and stuff like that, that could generate something back for the football team, also for the school district, in the sense that that's gonna go ahead and just be repaint itself over and over again, as far as that goes.
Yes. We could look at it. Just the only thing is to let you know, if we do decide to go that way, we will require DSA approval to put a new marquee up, and that might take a little bit longer and might be a little bit more expensive, like you
Correct.
said at the beginning.
There's-
Yeah, correct.
well, we can talk about it, but if there's already an existing one,
Yes,
there's ways to get around it, so
yes.
just food for thought.
All right, I'll look into it. Thank you.
I-8, is there a motion to approve I-8?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Calderon, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. What was the other one, Mr. Calderon?
I-13.
I-13.
And all I want to know is, in I-12, they actually name who's going. We're spending, well, it doesn't matter, but who's going from the high school to this training?
Good evening. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, Mr. Calderon, I didn't hear your question back there.
That, who's going to, are you going to this training, or you have an administrator
The
attend?
recommendation is for 2 academic support teachers to attend, and 2 administrators, 1 academic, hopefully coordinator of academic in the future. That's 1 administrator, another administrator, whether myself or a VP at that time, and the rest are teachers. So all certificated of the 15, 2 admin, and 13 certificated. Department chairs, department leads, subject matter leads, math. Right now, we tentatively had some names. There's still a lot of conversation. There's some interest. enough for the 13 spots, but within the departments, they're trying to identify leads and who can carry on the role to come back and train as well.
That's all I have, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. I-13, there's a motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., there's a second by Ms. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. I-15, accounts payable, Mr. Calderon.
I-15, accounts payable list, I thought the only vendor that we approved for HVAC was Vic Air Conditioning. I continue to see Sierra Air, we've been paying Sierra Air, and I don't know when we approved that company.
Mr. Gonzalez, who's going to answer that question? Okay.
Mr. Ocampo?
Sorry, but we're, MOT has only been using our, VIX. We haven't used, Sierra or Arctic, for any other stuff, but, the, food services, because they're not part of the HVAC system, they're able to use it as for, refrigeration and freezers maintenance, whenever they break down.
So food services is using Sierra Air?
Yes, that's just for that, just for the freezers and the refrigerators when they break down.
Okay. And, well, and this is just a comment, and that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Ocampo. Workman's comp, and this is just a statement. I mean, we paid almost $500,000 to workman's comp in this pre-list. So we might want to look into, I mean, we have staff, for safety coordinators and so forth. Maybe in the future have someone specifically deal with workman's comp. If I'm correct, Ms. Paez, we have the highest percentage on workman's comp, 8 point what? 8 point and change. And money yearly, that amounts to almost, what, 2 million? 2 million plus dollars.
6.
Oh, 6 million. 6 million, there we go. I'm sorry. And I'd like for, maybe consider, I mean, we have a safety coordinator, maybe we talk about where does our money go? Well, this is where our money is going. So I might entertain the fact that we need to address this. I mean, $6 million a year is a lot. And the closest one, and just this is food for thought, the closest one is 3.5, I believe. And that's one of the El Centro School District. And that's about as big as our school district. So with that said, maybe we can start tackling this expenditure and have more money so we can help out the teachers. Thank you. And the other staff, of course, thanks. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
So this is, even though we don't approve accounts payable, but this was part of our consent agenda, is there a motion to approve that item?
I motion to approve.
There a second? Second. Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. At this point, I'd like to extend the meeting until 10:30. I make the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 No,
Who said no?
no. I said no.
Mr. Calderon Jr. said no.
There is no
So,
discrimination.
motion passes 4-1, voting in favor, Mr. Romero, Ms. Magallanes, Mr. Alvarado, myself, Mr. Calderon. Voting against is Mr. Calderon Jr. Motion passes 4-1. Item J, consent items, Board Advisory Committee on School Construction, BASC, vetted items. J1, approval to go out and bid for Blanche House Elementary Differential Settlement Project.
I move to approve.
Second with questions.
Motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. with questions.
And just for the public, what are we actually going to do at Blanche Charles?
What is happening is Blanche Charles.
Yes, what is this project about?
Is taking out the cement slabs outside and redistributing so the water flow doesn't go into the school site.
Anything else?
And that's all we're doing. No, anything.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to, oh, there's a
Oh,
motion and a
this already-
second?
Yes.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Item J2, notice of completion to the district office relocation of 7 modular buildings, site improvement, and modular building improvements.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Romero, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Item J3, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Dell Consulting for site utility surveys at dual elementary parking lot project, Aurora High School's new portable buildings, and Border Link Phase 3 project.
I
So
motion to
moved.
approve with question.
There's a motion by Mr. Calderon Jr. with questions. Mr. Romero, did you second?
Yes.
And second by Mr. Romero. Go ahead, Mr. Calderon Jr.
Mr. Ocampo, can you tell us what is the new portable buildings at Aurora?
There's, the two portable buildings are for independent studies that the site administrator requested, and I believe it was part of ESSER funds that we're gonna fund it through.
And this, okay, so where are they going? I mean, they're gonna,
There's a current open slab of cement, that's not being used right now, and that's where we're projected to be put there.
okay, and there was no available classrooms for this, for the independent study, or we just need more?
We just need extra room at this point.
Okay, all right, I'm good with it, thank you.
So there's a motion and a second on J3. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. J4, approval to go out and bid for the district office north parking lot replacement project.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Romero, is there a second?
I'm a little confused here. I'll second it with, asking, when you say North Park, because we have two parking lots that are going up, or for projects. Which one is this one?
This is the district office north parking lot area, where the cement slab already split in half, and it's where the trash trucks came in and out. So we plan on replacing those.
This just happened recently?
It's been wear and tear over the years.
Okay.
We've had
Well,
a couple of accidents there.
And you know what, and it's not on you and everything, but I can say that we just, J2, we just closed it, saying that they were done and so forth, and now we're going back and spending more money. And it's not you, because you just got here. All I could spell it out, this is just poor planning. But again, I motion.
There was a motion by Mr. Romero, and you seconded.
Just comment, we're using ESSER funds, which are coming in from the government, and because we have these funds, we could do these projects. I mean, it's a win-win situation.
Richard, I understand that. However, and I think I mentioned in our last meeting, we have a lot of our sites that need a lot of help. And I think I asked, if I do recall, I asked Ms. Ramirez that if we could use these ESSER funds to, for example, repair restrooms that are out there in our sites. Because a lot of these restrooms aren't even ADA compliant. And I was told that ESSER funds could not be used for these projects. And yet, we have this project here that I see more need in other projects than what they're asking here for. And that's my opinion.
And just to comment real quick, I think one of the big parking lots that should be looked at, if we're gonna be using ESSER funds for our parking lots, I would have to say Rockwood.
Yeah.
If you pass by Rockwood and look at, that's a school with need, that actually needs some attention.
So we are planning on looking at other parking lots. It's gonna go to basic on next meeting, November 28th or 29th, I can't remember the exact date. And that would start the process of actually going through the entire district parking lots.
Yeah, and if I may, we talk about workers' comp, and there's a few district office employees here that several of them have fallen in this parking lot. And so it is a huge liability to the district at this point.
Well, this is my comment. I go by Rockwood every day, and it's completely a dirt parking lot. I think if anybody's gonna fall, they're gonna fall in that parking lot, because it's dirt, especially if they're wearing, shoes that aren't appropriate to walk on that turf. But again, I think we're not setting our priorities, or emergency priorities with these funds. And that's all my
So there's
comments.
there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
No.
Aye.
All those,
Oh, go ahead.
all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, please say no.
No.
No. Motion doesn't pass. Voting for the motion, voting for it is Mr. Romero. Voting against it is Ms. Magallanes, Mr. Alvarado, Mr. Calderon Jr., myself, Mr. Calderon. Motion doesn't pass, 1-4. J5, approval of current facility projects proposed timelines.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Romero. Is there a second?
I'll second with a question in regards to CHS marquee.
Second by Mr. Alvarado.
Do we have an actual date as far as that goes?
No, it's still at DSA for approval.
How long have we been waiting for that already? Mr. Dominguez? Because I know, Mr. Ocampo, you weren't here, that's why I referred to him, because I know that's one of those projects that's been in the works for a while.
Good evening, board members. The marquee is scheduled to be installed during Christmas vacation,
All right, perfect,
okay?
perfect,
That's what the DSA, and that's what Mr. Sanders' office is telling us.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dominguez. Thank you, Mr. Ocampo. So there's a motion. Did anybody second?
Kiki.
Okay, Kiki, there's a second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 No.
Motion passes 4-1. Voting for is Mr. Romero, Mr. Alvarado, Mr. Magallanes, Mr. Alvarado, and myself, Mr. Calderon. Voting against is Mr. Calderon Jr. Item J6, bid award agreement approval between Calexico Unified School District and A&N Quality Builders for the dual elementary loading, unloading, and parking lot project.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item J7, bid award and agreement approval between Calexico Unified School District and Oakview Constructors Incorporated for the Cesar Chavez Mains and Rockwood Elementary border lake antenna and sports field lighting. Is there a motion?
I motion to approve with a question.
There's a motion by
I'll
Mr. Calderon
second.
Jr. with a comment or question?
Yes, a question. Sports field lighting, can you tell me what that is all about? I understand everything else because I've been here, but the sports field lighting,
It is a dual purpose, so it's an antenna, and it's also to make sure that when the lights are necessary, they turn on. They're controlled by phone on an app, and they could turn it on anytime they want to and turn it off as requested.
the lights are actually going to be on the towers?
Yes, on both
Okay.
towers. Only one tower has an antenna, the other one's just pure light.
Okay, all right. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
So there's a motion. Is there a second?
I said second.
Second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did Mr. Romero say aye?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. Motion passes 5-0. Bid award agreement approval between Calexico Unified School District and George Metro Builders for the Garfield and Varner Gym locker rooms modernization phase 3 demolition and hazardous material abatement project.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Calderon. Is there a second?
Second with the question.
Second by Mr. Alvarado with questions.
What's the timeline in regards to all this? Because I just want to make sure that there is a timeline, not only that associated with that timeline, if they go past that timeline, that they are,
I have a question on this.
there's some type of penalty associated with, not like before, where it was only
So it is scheduled to start as demolition as soon as you guys approve it.
Correct.
Once the board approves it, it would go down, it would start demolition in November or December. We do have a plan to house temporary students for facilities. We talked to Ms. Williams yesterday about it. So we haven't decided, but we're gonna use the pool area lockers and 2 extra classrooms to make sure that the kids have locker room.
But in regards to the timelines and stuff like that, as far as that goes, all that's written in the contract, as far as penalties and stuff like that, all that's gonna be in there as
Yes,
well?
sir.
If they go
That is
over?
correct.
What's that, for that penalty amount, what do we currently have?
For this project, I believe it was $500 a day.
And I'm not, well, I'll reserve that for the vote.
That's one question, a comment. I think that, well, have you guys spoken to the stakeholders? And when I'm talking about stakeholders, I'm talking about PE teachers, everybody that is in that area.
Yes, so the project team yesterday and 3 times prior to that met with the site administrator, Ms. Williams. Thank you very much, Ms. Williams, for your help on that, with the athletic director, Mr. Ocampo, to coordinate the interim locker room facilities during the construction activities. Interim locker room space will include pool lockers for the girls and 2 classrooms for the boys. We're going to take the lockers out of the old gym and put them in 2 classrooms so we can facilitate for those kids that want to dress down for PE. The building in the immediate locker room area will be secured. It's going to be made safe with temporary fencing. Student path of travel to provide building ingress and egress has also been vetted and approved by site admin.
Okay, and just, I have received calls from some of the PE teachers, so you might want to go talk to them again. They had some concerns about what's going to take place.
I'm sorry, who is it?
That there is some concern about the stakeholders as to how we're going to
PE
coordinate
teachers? Okay,
the girls' lockers and the boys' lockers and so forth. So,
okay. Got it, thank you.
So who made the motion? Did somebody make a motion? Was it you,
I
Mr.
think I
Alvarado?
made the motion.
So Mr. Alvarado made a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No, motion passes 4-1.
No, hold
No.
on, I said no.
Oh, you said no?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you just said the I vote.
Oh,
There was
you
a-
said, okay, so I voted no, you voted no. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 So that's 3, and I get, all voting no, say no.
No.
No,
Mr. Calderon, you voted no?
no.
Okay, so, again, so there's 2 votes for yes, Ms. Magallanes and Mr. Romero. Voting no is Mr. Alvarado, Mr. Calderon Jr., and myself, Mr. Calderon. Item doesn't pass.
So comment, Board President? So there will be no, then, modernization of the lockers?
Well, there will be, if you bring it back after, after it's well planned, and after everybody's consulted on this issue, then we can bring it back.
Okay.
The only thing, Carlos, that I have an issue with, and that's something that I asked him, was the penalty amounts.
All right, so that being said, I mean, basically, you're halting the whole project at this point.
Excuse me?
So the whole project is going to be halted. There will be no modernization at this point. So you're asking to bring it back?
Bring it back.
If you could bring it back with if you need for me to go ahead and say at this point, I'll withdraw my motion to come back to actually specify those amounts, because I'm not gonna go like, just with like these other 2-story buildings where it was $500 a day also as well. I'm not gonna approve no more projects like that at $500 at that low amount.
So,
May I comment on that?
Yeah.
So when we look at projects and there's liquidated damages, if that's what you're referring to on a
Right.
project, we have to be really careful on how we assess liquidated damages. Liquidated damages cannot be used as punitive. And for a project like this, which is a smaller in amount, $500 a day is not untypical to use that number for liquidated damages. When you have a larger project, and I agree with you, Mr. Alvarado, I agree with you that for the A12 and for the 16 and 12 classroom buildings, that number was way too low. It needed to be higher. And so in this instance, though, this project, we've met 3 times with Mrs. Williams. And we have gone through this and vetted out. We showed him a map. We walked with the athletic director. We met with Daniel. We met with, again, with Miss Williams and vetted out where all the temporary fencing is going to go. We changed the locker room designation from boys to girls because we wanted the girls to have access to the bathrooms in the pool building. And so I believe that we've done our due diligence in making sure that this project is going to get off to a good start, and it will be done on time.
So the total cost associated with Mr. Dominguez is 1.5 million?
I also want to add that there's two parts, right? There was the initial presentation with teacher input. And then yesterday, when we spoke to Ms. Williams, the concern that the teachers had was the logistics. So they provided Ms. Williams and Mr. Velez their recommendations, and we read them with them, and so that's when we made adjustments to meet the recommendations that the teachers had. So they had concerns for storage, for example, so we identified where we're going to put storage. They had concerns with the PE, the football equipment being cleaned and where we're going to store it. So we found storage for that, and I believe we're going to have the uniforms cleaned somewhere outside. They talked about having a space for students to change, and that's when we looked at the boys' lockers and 2 additional classrooms for students to change. And what was the third one? They had like a list of things, so we worked through all of those concerns from the teachers yesterday with Ms. Williams to make sure that we had addressed the teachers' needs. So we did have that conversation yesterday too. Oh, yeah, and the third one was the storage of the current athletics, and so we found a space for that. So we found spaces on campus to address some of the concerns of where we're storing things.
Thank you. That was item J8.
Well, I mean, the total cost of it, Mr. Dominguez, is going to be $1.5 million, correct? Total cost associated with this project,
Approximately,
1.5.
yes.
A little bit over, right? It
Yes.
could go a little bit higher, it could come a little bit under, correct?
Yes,
And you're saying $500 is usually what's associated with something like this type
For-
of project, 1.5 million?
yeah, for a project like this, it ranges about $500 to $750 a day.
I mean, I could withdraw it and see if, it's just that's the only question that I have is just in regards to that amount. I mean, because I don't want to be the same thing, come, next year and stuff like that, and it's not completed, and we're going to be displacing kids again.
No question.
I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that it is going to get completed on time frame, because, I mean, is there a time frame on here?
Yeah, so so here's how the plan is working to start the project. We have 2 components of the project. We have demolition, which includes hazardous abatement, and that is scheduled to start the first week of December, actually December 6th. Once the board approves this project, on or about December 3rd, we're going to have our project kickoff meeting with the contractors. We call that our pre-construction meeting. And we're starting right away. And so, yes, this project is scheduled to be complete in July of 2022. If the board doesn't approve this project, we'll never make that timeline.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go ahead and bring it back, because I don't think we're going to be able to finish by 10:30 anyways. So can we bring it back for our next one? That way we could discuss it a little bit further. That way we could move on with the other ones, because seeing what could be done. All right, we'll just table it for
Well, the
Board President
motion
for,
The item was that didn't go
dead.
through.
well, I'll withdraw on that note. That way we could discuss it, because if that's the case, I'll withdraw my motion.
So what's the difference between withdrawing this, we still have to, if we table it, they still have to bring it back on the next board meeting?
No, not on the next board meeting, on this one that we're gonna come back, because we're gonna finish right here at 10:30, correct? Tonight. We could table this, we could discuss it with a little bit more time for the next one. That way, I mean, I still have a lot of questions in regards to this project.
So we're not gonna table it, you just wanna
Just,
come back?
just
when
come
we-
back
when
on
we-
it at our next, for the extension of this meeting.
Whenever this, the continuation. of
Alvarado,
this
if I
The
may-
30th, I believe it's the 30th.
Yeah, legal is here, Mr. Alvarado. Do you have any questions for legal on the contract?
Well, that's why, Carlos, I want to move on to other stuff, and I'll get in, if I could call you later on, because I don't want to extend this meeting a little bit more, that way you could, answer some of my questions as far as that goes, because 1.5 million is a lot of money.
I just want to make one comment, and, we can discuss this further, but I think with respect to the amount, we cannot talk about it now, but once the bid has gone out by law, the amount for transparency purposes for liquidated damages has to be in the bid packet. And so that's been in the bid packet. It's been, publicized to the potential bidders as well as it's now part of the agreement. So I think what has to happen is if we are needing to adjust the liquidated damages amount, we have to go back to the initial and go out to bid again.
So this amount, just for tonight, is just gonna be then the George Mitchell base that's showing on for what says on the bottom, 466,400, correct?
The bid amount is $466,400. That
All
is
right.
correct, awarded to George Mitchell Builders.
Okay, so the other amounts, that's gonna go out later on, we'll discuss those then, correct? Because everything on here is kind of lumped in, like, I'm seeing, abatement project, and then quality builders base bid, Oakview Constructors and base bid of 576,000, the other one was 492,000. I think what you guys should have done is just put that amount for the demolition, that way we could go ahead and prove just the demolition, because I'm just a little bit confused with all these numbers that are on here.
I'm sorry, okay, so the bid results are, the bid was awarded to George Mitchell Builders
Just for this item.
for this item, that is,
Okay.
that is correct.
From Bravo.
And that's right, A&N and Oakview contractors or constructors, they also bid on the project, but George Mitchell was the lowest responsible bidder.
Okay. All right, then with that said, then I'll go ahead and withdraw my motion, because I was a little bit confused with everything else that was going
Okay.
on. That's what I was doing right now, so I was a little bit confused what's going on. I'll withdraw my motion with that said.
Thank you.
So you're withdrawing your motion, so if you would, but we already took a vote.
Okay, so if that's the case, then I'm gonna go ahead and vote yes,
So you want to change your vote?
yes.
So then, item J8, voting for is Mr. Magallanes, Mr. Romero, and Mr. Alvarado. Voting against is Mr. Calderon Jr. and myself.
Yes,
So
and
vote-
I have a comment, and this is the comment. You said on record that you guys met with them yesterday. Well, I got an email today, and some of you that are sitting here also got the email. And my suggestion is that we go back and talk to the stakeholders. They had some concerns, and I think I made it clear in the past that those that are working in these areas should be always considered because they know better than anyone else what they're against. And like I said, I received an email today.
I didn't receive no email.
I'm not saying you did, but some of us did, and there were some concerned teachers.
Yeah, so the email, and I'm making the assumption it's the same email, went to Ms. Williams. And Ms. Williams shared it with us yesterday when we were with her to address the needs of the teachers. We didn't speak to the teachers themselves. We addressed their email to Ms. Williams on their concerns with Ms. Williams and Mr. Velez while we were there. But we haven't met with the teachers. They sent I'm assuming it's the same email. It went to Ms. Williams, and she shared it with us.
Well, not knowing what you got, all I could tell you is what I got, and this is, I'm telling you that there's issues with some of the staff. And all I need is for you to assure.
Yeah, we can
that
meet with them
these-
again, just to make sure that we're talking about the same issues. I don't think it's regarding the actual modernization plan,
No,
right? It's about the logistics?
I believe so, that's what
Okay,
the,
so we can meet with them, then, and we have a copy of the email here that Ms. Williams shared, so we can go back, because we can still make those changes. In terms of logistics, there's a lot of space for us to move and plan around it.
so, yeah.
So J8 passes 3-2. Item K, discussion only. K1, review of board policy 9250 remuneration, reimbursement, and other benefits. And board policy administrative regulations 3350, credit card usage by board members and district personnel.
Okay,
Mr. Romero?
I wanted this issue brought up. During the investigation, one of the issues was a misuse of credit card. And the way to prevent that is that no board member should have a credit card unless they go on some trip, like the one coming up in December. Once the trip is over, the board members should return the credit card. So I want to know right now, how many board members I assume when you guys went to meetings in July, did you all get a credit card? I think it was Kiki, Magallanes, and Ciro, correct?
Correct. I just got another credit card right now
For the meeting coming up?
for the one that's coming up in December, correct?
Okay.
I had to check it out.
Okay, Margarita, did you return your credit card that you got in July?
No, I have it with me.
Why? It should be returned right away. Now, I can understand you checking it out again for that, like Kiki did. But once you get the credit card and you finish the trip, it should be returned right away. This prevents any kind of misuse. The staff asked you to return it.
Yes.
Richard, that's really uncalled for. I mean,
Look, there was misuse of the credit card from the investigation.
this lady is
Do
new
you
to
have,
this.
do you have anything that I misused,
No,
funds?
but-
Okay, then.
Just as a policy, the card should go back to staff.
And this goes back even further, even more years. The reason why it was all checked in and checked out was even because of boards before us misused it, and that's the reason why it was turned in. And this is something I think that we need to discuss as far as that goes, as far as what this misuse amount supposedly was. From my understanding, I think that amount was to take out some teachers some parents that completed a program here for us or something like that. Is that correct?
Yes, what Mr. Romero is reminding us is regarding the misuse of my credit card when I took the two sets of parents that finished a training at Dual Elementary under the previous principal. The previous principal let me know about this training that they have for parents. So we thought it would be a nice idea to take those parents for lunch to award them their certificates for the completion of the training. So I did that. It was two groups of parents. Then the other one is to talk to members of CSEA that had complaints or that had issues, and they wanted to talk to me. And I went with them, and I met with them, and we did that. And the last thing that when I went to San Luis, Arizona, to take a look at the migrant program because they run a different kind of migrant program, and I just wanted to know how over there they could afford sending kids to universities all across the country, sending kids to summer programs, paid by the migrant program. So that's what I did. So no, Richard, I did not go and have fun with my credit card issued by the district. I shouldn't say my credit card, I should say the credit card lent to me by the district.
Still, the board,
But that amount was paid back, correct?
Yeah, that amount was paid back, yes.
still the board should not have credit cards unless they're going on a trip, okay? When I met with members of ACT, we went out to eat, and I used my own personal funds.
And Richard,
Well, some
I
people-
agree with you 110%. You use your own money, that way we won't have to be answering or telling a story here. But it should, not only for us, but it should also apply, because I know some of these administrators have credit cards too, so if it's good for us, I'm good for them too.
Fine. No one should have a
You
credit
check
card
it.
unless they're going on a trip.
At least in my world, if you were going to training, you would get the credit card. When you came back, you would take it back to accounting with the receipts and everything, and your travel expense. That's how it was. And that's how it should be, because it should be transparent. And I agree with you, because that's what I'm used to.
Exactly.
So maybe we should draw a policy and say, hey, you get a credit card, as soon as possible, whenever you return from a training or wherever you went, you must return it.
That's being very prudent.
Yeah, absolutely.
The existing policies you have that are linked to the agenda have, for instance, with reimbursement post a trip in, I think that's $33.50, that itemized receipts be submitted within 72 hours, so maybe that could give a parameter. With regard to the travel expenses in the investigation, part of the issue was in 9250, it says board members shall be reimbursed when travel expenses are authorized in advance by the board. And so the prerequisite piece is advanced board authorization. So those are, I guess, that's already in your policy, the authorized in
Yeah,
advance, but maybe 72 hours could be a parameter of returning
And
from
just-
travel.
And just getting into that, Amy, I know some people are a lot better off than other people. I don't know what everybody's financials here are, and I don't care to, to know what your guys' financials are, but there's, might be some board members that, can't, afford that, putting up that, $200-300 up front and stuff like that. I mean, that's their own previous stuff like that. But from my understanding, prior to this, well, I've been on the board now for 5 years, and prior to that, there was other board members before us that were allocated credit cards, but then again, Richard brings up the point. Yeah, at that point, there was a misappropriation of funds, and that's the reason why, from my understanding, because I went back and I did a little bit of soul searching there, and I found out there was a board member that was misutilizing that allotted amount that was given to them at that time. With that said, I mean, I rest it. I'm in agreement with either or. I really don't care. Every time I come back, the next day I usually, if I come back on the weekday, I go ahead and go and visit Janet the next day, and I turn it in for the same reason. But I mean, to me, I really don't. It's whatever the whole board decides. With that said, with the misappropriation of funds, however it was brought up in this investigation that Richard brought up, I think there was a perfectly good explanation about it. That money was paid back, and you know what? I mean, it is what it is. I don't see it as a misappropriation of funds. I see it that those, parents were being rewarded for something good that they did, at that school site. I mean, I've taken it out of my own pocket sometimes to go visit Cesar Chavez here, and last year, drop him off coffee or whatever. I don't go back and say, you know what, hey, guys, guess what? You guys need to reimburse me for the Starbucks and stuff like that. I mean, I won't do that. But like I said, there's other people that can't do that. And I just leave it as that.
And pointing out what's already in your policies, it does also say, existing policies talk about any purchase which includes charges for meals, food, and beverages must be accompanied by an itemized receipt. So it'd be saving those receipts, the names of the people attending, and the purpose of the meeting.
I think,
So
I
And
think
it has
sure
it has
to-
to
You
be
did that
approved,
correct.
right?
That's
She will do
already
that.
in here. Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's about meals. Travel has the pre-approval, but of course the board can always make adjustments and amendments.
Well, I mean, if you look at the pre-list, this pre-list that we're approving and we approved today has a lot of expenditures about rewarding staff, rewarding students. Go through it. It's there.
Yeah. So it is.
I mean, it's there. I mean, I went through the almost 90 pages and they're there. So,
So just for clarification purposes, because we had so many issues back in 2019, we did, just revisit the whole procedures for our credit cards. We updated a lot of our administrative policies and board policies, and there was a memo also issued in new internal protocols where all the credit cards, and this is everyone, trustees, administration, management, they were all going to be safeguarded at our business office. So that's for everyone across the board.
so Ms. Paez, so what is the process? Say you're going to San Diego to the conference. What is the process that you go through?
They have to come to the office and just check out the credit card.
Okay. And then you
Everyone does
return
the
it.
same.
Yeah, so that's how it should be, honestly.
And then as soon as they're back from their trip, they need to
Oh.
return it to the office.
We're on agreement with that? Yeah, yeah, well, I mean, blame Janet, she gave them to us.
So in regards to policy, thank you trustees for bringing that up, and Amy, just for clarification, so bring back the item would be the next step, so that way that board policy could be put in or amended as far as
Thank you.
making sure that the credit cards are checked out and checked back in?
Yeah, I think the policy right now is silent as to credit cards being checked out and checked in, so you could certainly add those provisions in a revised bylaw. I guess, and then the policy already has in it if there's meals, that an itemized receipt needs to be provided and names of the people and the purpose, so some notations on the
Okay.
receipt.
Right now, we have an acknowledgement that the board members sign, but I think if it's board policy, I think it just makes it clear. So
what do we have to do? We'll bring it back?
if the board is okay with that, we can bring it back. Yes?
Yes, I'm fine with it.
So just to be clear, there's no bylaw from the credit card, check-in, check-out, but that's we're gonna bring it up in the next meeting, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
That was K1. Item L, discussion, possible action.
Board President, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
We have a half an hour left. Is there any pressing issues that we need to approve by tonight that we have to go ahead and put up front? Because
I
we,
thought
like I
Carlos was
said,
gonna come up with a list.
Well,
If I may, we do have the action items, so trustees, and hope I don't offend anybody if we jump, but we really need to approve action items that have a priority with the,
We're not going to,
All-
be jumping left and right. Mr. Gonzalez, you just gave me one item at a time. We're gonna
Perfect.
get to them. If we get to them, we get to them. If we don't, we put them for the next board
and if
meeting.
we could put like the ones that are pressing the most for,
Yes.
like, they have to be done by this.
correct.
I
Okay.
would
So,
appreciate that.
so at this point, we are going to, where are we? Okay, so we did K, so we're going to jump from L, or do you have an item in L? Mr.
No, the
Gonzalez?
items start in action items N.
Action items, and, yeah, well, L is discussion, possible action, so nothing on Ls.
No.
Okay, so we're gonna then jump into,
N1.
N?
N2, please?
Okay.
Or N, I don't know. which
Okay,
one.
so we're gonna jump to N2. N2, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and all four kids to present the net show for dual elementary students and staff.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
If
Next,
we may
Mr.
jump to N4, please?
N4. N4, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Literacy Resources LLC for intervention curriculum services for Rockwood certificated
So
staff.
moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N5?
N5. N5, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and San Diego County Superintendent of Schools to participate in the California Literacy State Development Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Next, Mr. Gonzalez.
N9, please?
N9. N9, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and American Fidelity Assurance Company for plan benefits.
So moved.
Second with a question.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. What questions?
Can you, Ms. Byers, can you tell us what this is all about? I know we already do business with this company, but what is this? It's just a,
So they provide additional benefits, for example, like disability, anything, and that's just, the employee's responsibility. So it's just an additional, it's like a third vendor, and it provides additional benefit services for the employees of the district.
Kind of like Aflac?
Yes.
okay,
Mhm.
okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Byers.
So, go ahead.
So, is there a motion to approve? Or
Yeah.
did somebody
Yeah.
motion?
I did.
First,
Okay,
second.
and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. Next, Mr. Gonzalez.
N11, please?
N11. N11, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Peer Deck for software subscription for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 N,
A motion passes 5-0.
N14, please?
And 14, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and the Department of Health Care Services for data use.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N16, please?
And 16, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and SLA Paving Incorporated for the repair of the Calexico High School teachers' parking lot.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Junior. I will second this with comments
Yeah, that's
or
what-
questions.
That's what I was gonna ask for
Yeah.
questions.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarado. Okay, so is this the parking lot on the north side?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about it?
We are planning to temporarily use it for teacher parking until the end of the school year. And also, we're planning to use that as temporary housing once that is over, that is done to start construction. So that's two things we're trying to do with that parking lot.
So in other words, we're gonna pave it, put new pavement and everything on it, correct?
Yes.
And then we're gonna use it for staging.
No staging.
No?
We're gonna put trailers in that area, and about 6 to 8 trailers in that area. So we need to do it anyway to be able to start preparing for construction.
Mr. Campo, is like, say, for example, the new paving that we're gonna put in there and stuff like that, is there gonna be, once we put the trailers on there again, is there gonna be the weight-wise and all that stuff, moving it on there, it won't be no damage to it, or there is gonna be damage to it?
Minimum damage at this point, but we have to either, the parking lot is so damaged right now that we have to do it anyway.
Yeah, correct, and the teachers deserve, I mean, at least the new parking lot, I mean,
They're not
'cause
gonna have it.
that's something, I was hoping that, I was gonna already say, just go ahead and give it a covered parking lot, but if we're gonna be using for that also as well, it's, I mean, I'm fine with it.
Thank you, Mr. Ocampo.
Thank you.
So there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. Next,
And
Mr. Gonzalez.
17, please.
And 17. And 17, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and CDR Electrical Incorporated to install three-phase 200 amp, 120, 200 volt in the FFA animal area.
So move.
Second with a question.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Calderon Junior. With
Um,
questions?
It's almost, this project is 50,000, and don't get me wrong, everything I was FFA myself. But is this, the corrals, are they gonna have, or they're gonna be in the way with the A4 building? Just,
No,
They're not?
we're not touching that building at all,
So-
the corrals or anything like that.
okay, then I'm good, because I would hate to start investing and then have to remove them
No,
once we
the
have
only thing that
A4.
we are planning on moving and relocating is the police academy's,
Oh, the obstacle course?
obstacle course, and that's, we're only relocating it to the east side a little bit more.
All right, thank you very
To fit
much.
So there's a motion and a second.
Yes.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Next, Mr. Gonzalez.
And 20, please.
And 20. And 20, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Orenda Education for scope of services from November 2021 to June 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Mr.
Calderon.
Calderon Junior.
Second.
Second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Next, Mr.
And 21, please.
And 21. And 21, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Thomas Kelly Software Associates for expanded learning software services for the 2021-2022 school year.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Calderon Junior. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
And 23, please.
And 23. And 23, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Zoom for video conferencing software subscription for the 2021-2022 school year.
So move. Second.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Junior, second by Mr.
I don't
Alvarado.
know, it was so expensive to do Zoom.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Talking out loud.
Aye. Who else?
Aye.
Okay.
Richard?
Aye.
Maggie Pagallanes?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
And 24, please.
Okay, thank you. And 24, authorization to seek proposals for E-rate services for the 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Second with a motion by Mr. Calderon Junior, second by myself with questions. Mr. Gonzalez, is this done by, don't we get help from ICOE to get this done?
This is where we qualify. I think it's 90%. Where's Mr., well, but this is ongoing. We do it every year. There's a huge percentage of grant money. I think it's up to 90%. We only pay 10% of the difference.
Okay.
And we bring it to the board in order to authorize us to be able to move forward and seek E-rate funding.
Oh, okay, all right. So there's a motion, a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Next, Mr.
N26,
And 26. And 26, memorandum of understanding between Calexico Unified School District and Imperial County Office of Education Support Services Department for nursing LVN services for the 2021-2022 fiscal year.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N29, please.
And 29. And 29, memo of understanding between Calexico Unified School District and the University of Phoenix, California for Luz G. Espinosa Ambriz for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion,
Abstain.
oh,
Abstain.
so motion passes 4-0. Voting in favor are Mr. Romero, Ms. Magallanes, Mr. Alvarado, and myself. Abstaining is Mr. Calderon.
N30, please.
And 30? And 30, approval for foster youth and homeless facilitator job description.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
N33, please.
And 33, thank you. Variable term waiver for the 2021-2022 school year for Elsa Pliego.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0.
N36, please.
And 36. And 36, resolution of the governing board for the Calexico Unified School District authorizing contracting pursuant to the California Multiple Award Schedule, number 3-16-70-0012B, and approving purchase of information technology goods and services.
So
It's a
moved.
Second.
motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. This is a resolution, it's a roll call. Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Ms. Magallanes?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarado?
Yes.
Mr. Calderon Jr.?
Yes.
And myself, Mr. Calderon, yes. Motion passes, resolution passes 5-0.
N46, please.
And 46, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of its Calexico Unified School District General Obligation Bonds, 2021 election series, 2022, in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $42,800,000, authorizing the distribution of an official statement for the bonds and other documents and actions related thereto.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion by
Rich.
Mr. Romero, there's a second by
By myself.
by
Alvarado.
Alvarado. There is a resolution, roll call, Mr. Romero,
Yes.
Ms. Magallanes,
Yes.
Mr. Alvarado,
Yes.
Mr. Calderon Jr., and myself, Mr. Calderon. Resolution passes 5-0.
And in 47, I'd like to recommend that the board approve the certificated employment report as submitted.
There's a
So moved.
motion by Mr. Romero, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0.
And 48, I'd like to recommend that the board approve the classified employment report as submitted.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Romero, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0.
All right, so I'm going to go back to, in,
We're the.
Oh, the
I'm sorry, the
discipline, yes.
discipline. Sorry, Lisa.
Yeah.
All righty.
Q.
Yes,
Item-
that would be Q1.
Item Q, the Student Discipline Education Code Section 489110. Q1, action upon recommendation of student discipline case number 212201.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., is there a second?
Second.
What number are we on?
Q1.
Q1.
All right.
Mr. Romero, did you second?
Yes.
Second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0.
All right, so I'm going to go back to the first page. I did skip one, so N10, please.
Okay, so we're gonna go back. We are looking at
N10.
N10. N10, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Parent Hall to purchase and install classroom furniture for each school site.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Romero. Is there a second?
I think,
Motion dies for the lack of second. Go ahead, Mr. Gonzalez.
I was gonna ask just to table it for our 30th meeting, but
So would you like to table, now are you making the motion to table N10?
yes, for the 30th.
There's a motion to table N10. Is there a second?
Discussion, the board approved this on September 9th to award the RFP to Parent Hall. So this is just a motion for each school site, but the board already approved the motion, the bid price.
Correct. So we issued the RFP back in April. Then we decided in September to go with Parent Hall. Then all the different sites actually got, all the codes that were needed for their sites. And we received the code, we put a purchase agreement for you guys to approve today and move on with the requisitions and the logistics and everything to replace all of our old furniture. District-wide classroom furniture only.
Amy?
Can we leave it for the
Well,
next
there's,
meeting?
I made a motion to table it. If there's nothing,
Okay,
then that way.
so I will second that motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion, your
Aye.
motion is to table it?
Motion passes to table the item 4-1. Voting in favor are Ms. Magallanes, Mr. Alvarado, Mr. Calderon Jr., and myself. Voting against to table is Mr. Romero.
Yeah, just table it to the 30th, which
Yes.
is, we're gonna come back for the rest of the things, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Mr.
so N1, please.
N1?
Correct.
N1, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Franklin Client Sales Incorporated for Leader in Me Framework Services for William Moreno Junior High School.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Romero. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Magallanes. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N3, please.
N3, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Iden Metrics for biometric meal counting services.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Romero, Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N6, please.
N6, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Renaissance for Renaissance My Own News and Renaissance My Own Reader for subscription license.
So
Aye.
moved.
I second it with a question.
Motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. with a question.
Before, the reason I'm asking questions here, before we used to have AR throughout our district. It was across the board, across our 7 elementaries and so forth. Now, we have each school getting their own reading program. So, isn't it, or at least in my view, isn't it fair for every student in Calexico to receive the same program, regardless if you go to Blanche, or you go to Cesar Chavez, or you go to Jefferson? And I see all these different reading programs when in the past we only had one.
So for right now, this is the 4th school that's requested the same program. So this is the only reading program that's been coming to you, and it's four schools already. As I mentioned before, schools are going through the literacy grant, where they're going to be doing some of the data analysis and start looking at what are the needs to promote literacy, and from there, there's going to come other recommendations, but all schools are going to go through that process. Right now, some of the schools are trying out this program to see how it works in comparison to the other one. So far, it's 4 out of the 7 elementary schools. So We don't know if the other 4 schools are going to want to do, or 3 schools are going to want to do the same thing, or they're waiting to see how that program works before they jump into this program.
And again, I mean, it doesn't matter what school
Yeah.
our children go to. I think they should have the same throughout the district, so, and that was my concern.
Yeah, and I do agree with you, Mr. Calderon.
So there's a motion and a second for N6. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5, did you
Aye.
vote?
Yeah.
5-0.
And 7, please.
N7. N7, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Literally for licenses for students at Cesar Chavez Elementary.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
And 8.
N8. N8, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and CalSAC Cipher Works for professional development software licenses.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Romero, who second?
No,
that's-
motion by
Oh,
Alvarado.
by Alvarado, who seconded?
Second.
I did.
Well,
Second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes
Which one?
5-0.
which one is it?
That was N8.
And they,
And 12, please.
N12. N12, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and American Security Group for software licenses to manage the access control system.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Romero, is there a second?
second.
Second by Mr. Calderon Jr. I do have a question. What, access control system, what is this?
Good evening, Board. My name is Eduardo Perez.
Yeah,
Knowledge
for the
Coordinator.
Family Resource Center.
Perez.
Oh.
Hello, sorry, I'm remotely, I was managing the remote audience. Can you hear me?
I can.
Go ahead.
Okay. These licenses to manage the access control system, those are the access cards for the A2 and A3 building, also the ones used at the district offices and the FRC. It's the software to control the hardware to open the doors.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a motion and a second for N12. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
And 13, please.
N13. N13, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Blue Dot Education for the 2021-22, 2022-23 school years.
So moved.
Second.
Who made the motion?
I did.
I did.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, well, who seconded?
I did.
Go ahead.
Mr. Romero, yes. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And 15, please.
Motion passes 5-0.
And 15.
N15. N15, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Pitney Bowes to purchase meter equipment to provide software maintenance at Aurora High School alternative education.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
And 18, please.
N18. N18, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Accent Electronics DBA Standard Electronics for the IP Telecore Intercom at Mains Elementary and Calexico High School 9th grade campus.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
And 19, please.
N19. N19, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Envoy Plan Services Incorporated for retirement plan compliance, administration, and consulting services.
So moved.
Second with a question.
Motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Calderon Jr. With questions.
The question is, didn't we already have a consultant to deal with retirees? I don't know. I thought we had in the past.
Yeah, so Envoy is a third-party administrator, and that's what we follow in order to avoid any conflicting issues. So that way, as a district, we don't handle any of the retirement. That's handled by a third-party provider, which is Envoy.
But we do have another another agency that does this too, correct?
Well, other agencies provide services for retirement, but that's up to the employees to decide if they want to use them.
No,
There's a
I-
number of them out there that provide retirement services.
I mean, if I remember, when Mr. Rega was here, he had hired somebody, and maybe it was for something else, but I'm almost sure it was to handle retirement, because it's a lot of paperwork for them, correct? I mean, that involves a lot of work. But I mean, if you can say, you can tell me there's no other agency I'm good to.
Yeah, this is our main third-party administrator that handles the district.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
So there's a motion and a second, right?
Yeah.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Mr. Gonzalez?
N22, please.
N22, agreement between Calexico Unified School District and Pexabyte Solutions Incorporated for audio-video equipment and installation at district office new relocatable units.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Romero. Is there a second?
Second, with the
Second.
question.
Second by Mr. Calderon Jr. with a second.
What are we installing? I mean, television monitors or, and these are
I'm
these
also,
trailers that we
I
have
submitted
back
the
here?
item, I'm here too.
Eddie is in back.
Okay.
For the new 7 portables at the district office, between the main district office and the MNO warehouse, we have 2 conference rooms. One it's called the CTC room, and the other one, it's at the IT office. That's the audio video system for those conference rooms, in order to have, for the meetings.
Okay, that's all. That's all? Eddie, for those 7 trailers or just?
We have 2 conference rooms in the new portables.
Uh-huh.
It is for the audio video system in those conference rooms.
Okay, thank you very much. So moved.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. So that's a motion, is there a second, or did you second?
I second
So there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N25, please.
N25, memo understanding between Calexico Unified School District and Bix Miles, California, for oral health services to CSU students.
So, second.
Motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., second by Mr. Alvarado. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N27, please.
N27, memo of understanding between Calexico Unified School District and Imperial County Behavioral Health Services for First Step to Success Early Intervention Program.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alvarado, second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N28.
N28, memo of understanding between Calexico Unified School District and Imperial County of Education for Math SEL Professional Development Day for 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Who-
I first.
Okay,
And
a
then-
motion by Mr. Calderon Jr., second by Mr. Romero. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0.
N31, please.
And 31, awarding an agreement of RFP number 2021-09 for security patrol services.
So moved.
Second with comment?
Motion by Mr. Romero, second by Mr. Alvarado, with comments.
Mr. Gonzalez, this is the current company that we use, correct?
Yes.
That is correct. This would be ongoing for another 3 years.
That's perfect.
Correct.
So there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Board President, I know we're pretty close to the time already. I know
Sir.
there has to be some announcements made,
It
correct?
is 10:27 now, so at this, where's?
No, you have to make at least a comment to the football
Oh.
too. Right on.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's it for the items for tonight. Before we go, we need to, I wish the football team good luck tomorrow. Is that the game
Yes.
is tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow.
In San Diego. And it's the first time in how many years?
History.
In history that we are going to CIF, into the CIF championship, well, not championship, but playoffs in football. So good luck tomorrow to the football team.
And I do want to make one more comment before, because this is important. You all right?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, in regards to my comments for IVROP, this comment, I need to make it because it's critical comment here. IVROP is offering a virtual work-based learning opportunity via global health squads to a total of 5 Calexico high school students that will take place in Honduras, starting on October 27th and ending on December 15th. Students will be taking part in a 6-week volunteer telemedical course, which includes job shadowing. So important for our kids that want to become medical personnel, that this is sort of an internship for them.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Calderon Jr. And this meeting will be continued on Tuesday, November 30th at 6 p.m. here at Cesar Chavez Elementary. Thank you. And hold on. Amy, do I adjourn the meeting or because we're going to continue it? Do I adjourn it? Okay, so item S, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Alvarado.
Second.
Second by Mr. Calderon Jr. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. It is now 10:30. Thank you, good night.